What do you get when you travel across 3 different continents, each with a distinct sound?
Karimi, Kenya.
Nyakeo, Kenya.
Jim, England. Kirit, Kenya, India.
Sally, England.
Prasad from India.
Hi, we're Kachumbari Seven, and welcome to our show.
The band was formed about 3 years ago. None of us knew each other. There's this magazine here called the Awas magazine with Zarina Patel and Zahid Rajan. And they were holding this exhibition, photo exhibition, talking about how the Indians and the people from the subcontinent have come to Kenya a long time ago, about almost more than a century ago, and what is their contribution here to this country, to East Africa. So they said we want music, because Zarina knows me, so she says we would like to have some music, and not just Indian music. We want something that's a mixture of all the cultures that are in Kenya.
Did you know that Mozart, the great classical music composer, was in Nairobi, Kenya in the year 1776? Well, as a tribute to the great, Kachumbari Seven have named their debut album Mozart on Moi Avenue. It's still unclear whether he visited Moi Avenue, a street in the city center, but tonight we celebrate this album launch.
He was here, went to Arboretum, put together a piece, wrote it down. Then when he was leaving, it got stuck in some sewage.
The elephants, wasn't it? The elephants chased him.
Yeah, the elephants chased him and he ran back, went back to England, but he dropped his music. So his music was found later on, like now. Yeah. So we have the music and we play it. You choose if it's true or not.
It depends how creative you are, whether you believe the story or not. If you have a creative imagination, anything is possible.
I almost fell for the travels of Mozart to the motherland. But one thing's for sure, these musicians are quite ingenious, and here's something undeniable, that the musical mix across cultures, it's a pleasure to the ear.
You chose the name because it really describes the music, because it's a mixture of so many different things. Kachumbari is a mixed salad. You have onions, tomatoes, dhania, chilies, salt. There probably are 7 ingredients in a really good one, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And we decided that name because actually the way our music works, when you hear all the instruments playing together, it's not like a cake. Because in a cake, you taste the cake. You can't taste the flour and the eggs and the sugar. But in a salad, you taste everything separately, but it still tastes good together. So that's how we chose the name.
I think most of the things like that we've done have happened by accident. Maybe one person's bringing a rhythm, and say Obuya's brought a rhythm in 5 time, and then the tabla player Prasad, he'll start saying, oh well, that's similar to a rhythm we do in India. Then Kirit will play the tune that goes with that, and then we'll find something else that fits on top, and we add some chords, and before we know it, everything's mixed together, still preserving the originals.
In Indian music, it's almost all based on improvisation around certain structures. And with Western classical music, which is the tradition that Sally and I come from, it's a lot more rigid. You know, you have the music written down, and you have to play what's on the page. With Kachumbari 7, we don't use any paper at all. It's all in our heads, and we work together by listening. And of course, with traditional Kenyan music, you can find somebody playing one pattern the whole night for dancing. And, you know, because we're coming from these different places and different musical principles, we have to find compromise and find ideas that we can share.
Just looking at the stage, the diverse instruments fly you from Asia to Africa to Europe. And with the beats so distinct, isn't it tricky to marry the sounds?
The one thing about music, it's universal. It doesn't matter where you're from. So, like, whatever key it has will probably resonate with something that I've listened to or I like. So it just happens. I think it's just musicians, we're just like that. It just works.
And although the group is still fairly new on the music scene, they've brought home vibes bound for the world.
We would like to play in each of the places we come from. Right? So like Jim comes from Croydon, Sally comes from Hull, all the way up north of England.
Hull City.
Hull City.
Yeah.
She comes from the highland, from the slopes.
Yeah.
Obuya comes from Nyanza. Nyakio, where exactly?
Just loops.
Just loops. Me from India, Prasad from, me from Rogan Road actually, Kirinyaga Road.
Back to Africa Rising. After that interesting feature, the Kachumbari Sevens, you had the Asians, you had the Europeans, and you had the Africans, all representing their cultures through the music, which is very, very, very cool. You know, I think it's really nice that these people come together, teach each other, and then sing to teach others. That's a good way of mixing up these cultures. Fantastic. Listen, their first album was done on an avenue, Moi Avenue. It was called Mozart on Moi Avenue. So there you are walking in town on this avenue, and you're just hearing some music. Just be like, where's some music coming from? And there's a Kachumbari 7. I think that was pretty cool. I like the way they try and, you know, get into people, use the public, and communicate their songs. The other thing that they did that was really interesting was that one of their songs was inspired by the morning bird. I'm not a morning person. You are not going to play for me that song in the morning. No, I'll be like sleeping. Get away from me, don't wake me up. Peace. The other interesting thing that Kachumbari 7 does is that they teach tongue twisters in the different cultures. So the African will teach the Asian a tongue twister, the Asian will teach the European a tongue twister, the European will teach the African a tongue twister, and you learn all so many tongue twisting words. Anyway, coming up next is the song, The Tongue, by Rigger. We'll be right back. Enjoy.